This is TSE Talks, produced by Trade Show Executive Media Group.
Hi, I'm Gabrielle Weiss, publisher and editor of Trade Show Executive. Thank you for downloading this podcast of Trade Show Executive Talks, or TSE Talks. I hope you enjoy this special episode of TSE Talks.
Hello, everyone. This is Regina McGee, Senior News Editor with Trade Show Executive. I'm talking today with Howard Britt, President and CEO of Premier Shows, producer of Premier Orlando, the largest beauty trade show in the world, and a Trade Show Executive Gold 100 show. Premier will host shows in Philadelphia, Columbus, and Birmingham, Alabama later this year. So I'd like to just jump right in right now and say hello to Howard.
Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. And Howard, can you just give us a little background on how you got involved in the show industry? I think that would be interesting for our listeners.
Well, it's been an interesting adventure over the years. I started off working for a local distributor of professional beauty products based out of Florida, and it was a single line distributor. And one day it was kind of like, well, let's start a show. Just again, no business plan. Probably if we did a business plan, we would have never done it. So we launched a show. We had 3 tabletop exhibitors out in the lobby of the hotel and about 300 attendees. That was in 1990. So
Wow.
We've been doing the Florida version of this for 30 years now.
At what point did the show evolve to a size where it was held in the convention center, roughly?
Well, we spent several years, about 4 years in a hotel, getting a little bit bigger each year and growing the show. And then I guess it was right around 94, I said, all right, let's see if we can pull this thing off in a convention center. So we took the smallest space they had over there, and a small space, and we did classrooms, we did a main stage, and we did presentations and demos in the smallest space that we could possibly rent. We went in August. End of August, because we were able to negotiate the best possible rates at the time. But we did get off of a rough start. They were adding to the original building of the convention center. And during that construction, the night before our show opened, again, the first time in the convention center, they hit a main water line. So our show requires shampoo bowls and this whole behind the scenes participation so that we can prep the models and the guest artists can prepare for their stage presentations. So we lost the water for the shampoo bowls. We lost the water for the bathrooms. We also lost the water for the air conditioning.
Did the show go on?
End of August, and we still were able to get through that year. People were not happy, but understood.
Wow, what an introduction, baptism by fire. So at what point, now I see that there are, I guess, spin-off shows in Philadelphia, Columbus, and Birmingham this year. At what point did the first spin-off show, is that the correct term to use?
Well, it kind of just happened over the years where we had different opportunities. And I want to go back a little bit with Orlando. I want to say that, for the 25 years we've been working with them, so even though it got off to a rough start, it's been a great partnership.
Mm-hmm.
They have truly helped us grow, helped us along the way, because we are a small organization and we really didn't have a clue what we were doing. So they've helped us. As they've grown, we've grown. And for 25 years, it's really been a great partnership. When we started to look at other opportunities, we had a couple of distributors for hair care products that were up in Ohio. And they said that they heard about our success and wanted to see if we could help them out. So at first we started off just managing a program for them. So we launched it in 1999 and we said, all right, we'll help you guys get started. Then eventually we did go ahead and take over the show. I purchased the show from the distributors. And we were able to then continue to grow it, and we created Premier Columbus. And so it's been a successful show. Certainly not the size and the magnitude of Orlando, because I think Orlando, we're close to the 50th, I think over 50th largest trade show now.
How large is the Orlando show in terms of both attendance and square footage?
We are over, I think we're over 50,000 attendees now. Our square footage, we're again ranked, I think, 52nd with Trade Show Executive. So we're thrilled with the growth that we've had.
So over the years, there has been obviously the shows evolve as the beauty industry itself evolves. What are some of the examples of how the Orlando show has evolved in terms of content or formatting or scheduling, or give us some idea of how the show has evolved? It's focusing on Orlando.
Well, for us, we've always been education based. When we first started off, we said, all right, let's make sure that we can do the proper training, we can make sure that the newest and latest trends are being presented. Let's go ahead and focus on the classrooms and the demonstrations and the education. And then hopefully the attendees will follow, and then the manufacturers will follow. And then that's worked well for us. And we've also, that has continued to be our formula for when we go into the other markets.
So you offer sessions in addition to what happens on the trade show floor. There's a lot of workshops, etc.
Yeah, the conference part of our event has always been an integral part. And yes, we do, because of the beauty industry, we do have a main stage that we bring in some of the top hairdressers from around the world. We present in front of, probably in that room alone, kind of a general session, but again, main stage, lights, the whole glitz and glamour of the beauty industry. That room holds about 3,000 people, and then we do a separate section just for hair color. For the industry, we supply some of the top educators.
So are there any competitors out there? And if so, what makes the Premier Orlando show different from any competitors? I know size, it's obviously the largest. Is there anything, what's the differential, do you think?
Well, yes. I mean, there's always competitors out there. We were actually one of the newest startups, and the New York show, the Chicago show are great programs, and they've been there for many years. I think some of the differences is that we're just a small organization. We're able to make changes quickly. If we make a mistake, which we do, we're able to quickly change and move on and not have to do everything by large committees and not have to constantly, going back to different groups to get permission. So I think that's been very helpful to us. And I've got an amazing staff. I've been very fortunate. I've got the loyalty and the longevity. I've got 5 employees have been with me over 15 years. 2 have been with me for over 20 years.
Wow.
So seeing those same faces every year, I think also helps our exhibitors and attendees. As soon as they see them, they're like, okay, I can relax. I think things are going to go well. And that's been a big part of our success.
Would you be able to give an example of how, being a small group, you were able to be super responsive to something that came up, an issue, or how you would be able to be more responsive and flexible?
Oh, I don't know if there's one in particular. I think it's something that just over the years we're saying, okay, the show is going to go in one direction, and we think that's the way it's headed, and then we see that it's going. We were just basically following it at times. So I think it's just, again, being nimble and being able to say, all right, what can we do to make that better? One of the things that's been interesting about being in Orlando is that we've taken cues from 2 of the experts in customer service. But you look at Disney,
Mm-hmm.
you look at Universal Studios, they're right in our backyard, and they set such a standard for customer service that we've had to follow that. And it's really worked. Convention Center has been great that way. And so our staff has also tried to emulate what the level of customer service in Central Florida.
Okay, nobody likes to talk about their challenges, but readers and listeners like to hear about them. And maybe you could talk about 1 or 2 of the challenges, the biggest challenges over the years that your team has faced as the show has evolved, and how you responded to that challenge.
I can think of a couple. Maybe around 2000, 2002 or so, we doubled in size. We went from 250 10 by 10s and to 500
In 1 year?
in 1 year. And we were all excited about that. We thought, that's fantastic. We're doing better. We were not prepared. As a management team, and being not really knowing what we were doing at the time, we were not prepared. So it took us the last 24 hours nonstop. We worked throughout the night, and we finally got our last piece of staging riser that we all helped push in about 15 minutes before the show opened at 9 a.m. So that was a huge learning curve. It taught us that, we need to do things differently and really be prepared. Another one was, we're in Central Florida and hurricane seasons. Our show was in August for 17 years. One of the hurricanes, Charlie, hit right before our show, and then Katrina hit during our weekend. Hurricane Katrina hit during our weekend in New Orleans, and some of our exhibitors and attendees didn't have a home to go back to. So after that, we're like, all right, let's see if we can't move into June. Let's try to get the just outside of the hurricane season. So that was a big change for us, because after being in August for so long, but it's worked out well, and the Convention Center worked with us, and so we feel very fortunate we were able to do that.
Wow, those are two good examples of challenges. Want to take a kind of a macro look, maybe look at the trade show industry as a whole that you've been part of for decades. There's a lot of change going on, a lot of disruptions taking place, things like stepped up mergers and acquisitions, globalization driving a more international focus for some show organizers, housing issues, room blocks can be a big challenge, getting enough hotel rooms. What are some of the things that you see that are major disruptors of the trade show industry as a whole, and how have they affected any work that your group does?
Well, I think it's interesting now where we're having a little bit of a blend of a consumer and trade, professional trade, where we're getting at times some pressure from some of our manufacturers that could we open for one day and open to the general public and then be trade for the other days. And I know a couple of the events in Europe for the beauty industry currently do that. So that's kind of where we look at it as being professional and professional only, but I see that as something that is being talked about there. The comms, there is a beauty comm, kind of like the Comic-Cons, and so that's seems to be kind of an interesting trend where, with the influencers, do we allow the influencers to be into the events, even though they may not be professional? At the same time, they are influencing our attendees.
That's something that you might be thinking about for the future, or just considering the pros and cons at this point?
More the pros and cons. We like the distinction between the two, but we certainly recognize that that is something that is part of ongoing discussions. I mean, I think we're all dealing, it's a constant with how do we, embrace and work with social media. We are also at the same time thrilled the amount of marketing and advertising that we get when they're posting their photos and they're posting their experiences at our shows. So I don't know if that's disruptive as much as it is a great way of us getting exposure for all of our events that wasn't part of our marketing plan.
Does your team actively engage in a social media strategy, or do you just let it unfold with the people that are there?
No, we actually created this year, we did cardboard cutouts of some of the top industry influencers as far as the beauty industry goes. And we set up, a hashtag area. We set up an area to make sure that the photos could be taken, and then we're giving them how they could post them so that we would get that exposure. It is just the way, everybody wants to make sure that they document that they were at this, at an event. And so we want to be one of those events that they're excited about and they want to share.
Very smart. Okay, managing a growing business of dynamic shows can be a high energy, high wire occupation. So what do you do to chill out? What do you do to unplug?
Well, I don't know if it helps me relax or chill out, but I've been tempting to play golf. I never played much when I was younger, and so I can continue to attempt. I go to some of the industry events, and they can see that it's been an ongoing process. And I do love to travel. That's the other thing. I will travel, and even at times solo travel, just to kind of unwind and just absorb into a different culture.
So that leads into the fun questions that we like to ask in power lunch interviews. And one of them is, if I had to pick one favorite vacation spot, it would be.
I think Italy. Italy is just amazing to me. I've been 4 or 5 times. I could of the many places I've gone to, I've been very fortunate to do a lot of traveling, and Japan was amazing, but there's something about Italy, there's just so diverse, and there's so many different places to go and check out, so I probably would say Italy, and I would go back again.
Any particular part of Italy?
Kind of Cinque Terre, which is kind of the 5 villages, which is just an amazing little area, and the vineyards and all of that. I've always really enjoyed that area.
Is that in Tuscany?
Outside of.
Okay, yeah. The best way to characterize my management style is.
Well, I will have to say it's changed a lot over the years. I was able to, and had to be, because it's such a small organization. Again, we're less than 20 employees now, but it was very hands-on. We had to be involved in everything. So now it's changing where I can, we're very fortunate. I've got these amazing employees that I can delegate, and so now I've got to be more of a conductor and just so hopefully orchestrate the company to continue to move forward.
Okay. Being in the show management side of the beauty industry, I've learned a lot about.
I've learned to stay out of their way. This is an extremely creative group. What we try to do is just help them be organized. They're not the most organized, but an extremely creative. So we've always said we kind of create the canvas for these amazing artists. So if we can help them be organized, make sure that everything runs smoothly, make sure they have a great experience, and then at the end of the day, we'll get a better performance and a better experience for everybody.
One thing most people don't know about me is.
I'm originally from Ohio. I think a few people know that, but that has been, I think, very beneficial. Having a kind of a Midwest background has been helpful in my business over the years.
Is that because of the idea that the Midwest is friendly? People are.
Or naive. I don't know which one is that.
Yeah.
I just think we have, we're just a kind of an open attitude, and I think just kind of trusting with others, and we just want to get along, and maybe to a fault at times.
And did I read that you were from Dayton?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
From Ohio, yeah.
I'm a big fan of.
Well, then it goes back to it. I'm a Buckeye fan, so Ohio State Buckeyes. Since I was a little kid, and Woody Hayes and all of that over the years, and I actually got a chance to meet Woody Hayes when I was in high school. So yeah, we were. Yes, I believe it or not, did play football.
Oh, okay. I believe it. The achievement I am most proud of in my life so far.
Well, it's got to be my family and my kids. Both are almost. One's in college and one's graduating from high school this coming year. And my staff that have stayed with me and have put up with me all these years. Again, the longevity has been critical to our success. And then somehow, some way, with Premier providing hopefully a great service for our attendees and our exhibitors.
Any plans for family members to get in the show management business, or too early to tell?
It's strictly up to them. I want them to know the opportunity. They were at the show this year. They helped me out some this year, helped out our staff. Mm-hmm. Also, my brother and sister-in-law from Indianapolis fly in and help us out, and some of their family members.
That's great.
Yeah, it really has been. It's an opportunity for us to spend time together. At the same time, it's somebody you trust. You know that you can give them an area that will be well taken care of. So it is a family affair, but it's up to the kids. If they don't have desire to get involved with this company, that's fine. But I want them to know that, perhaps that opportunity is available to them.
Howard, just looking out ahead, is there anything that you want to talk about for plans for the show in the upcoming year or the upcoming years? Any new developments that you want to mention, or new formats?
For us, really has been the launch of Philadelphia last year. That was a big undertaking for this company. We have not done anything in the Northeast, so us working with the unions and going through that process and understanding what works for them, how to work with their system and working with them and our exhibitors. That was a new and different environment for us. So that was a real challenge. And so we want to build on that, and hopefully we can have a strong presence in the Northeast through our Philadelphia show.
Are you at the convention center in Philadelphia?
We are. We were able to launch our first year at the convention center, working with the hotels there, and the convention bureau has been wonderful to work with. So we're excited about being in the Northeast, and hopefully we can continue to develop and grow that show.
Could you give some numbers for that show? I know we can, just rough numbers. Was that how many attendees? Or
I think we were right around 10,000 attendees, or just under that. Yeah, we were very pleased, and we were able to, I'm not sure of the square footage, we were able to get a nice representation of some of the top exhibitors. They took smaller space for our first year, and we understood that. And again, hopefully we can grow that.
Excellent. So, Howard, that wraps up our questions for today. I want to thank you for your time. It's been interesting and fascinating talking with you, and just want to offer you an opportunity to offer a last comment or thought as we sign off.
Well, I want to thank Trade Show Executive for including me. This is the first podcast I've done, and so it's been an interesting process, and it's been a very interesting run over the years, and I look forward to the next 25 years. So thank you.
Thank you.
This has been TSE Talks, produced by Trade Show Executive Media Group.
Thank you for listening to this edition of TSE Talks. I hope you will join us next month for a talk with one of our industry's leaders and legends for our Power Lunch interview. In the meantime, please visit us online at tradeshowexecutive.com or in print for the rest of this story, and for our trade show industry-focused award-winning content.